Hey, welcome to an episode of Chad's Beer Podcast. This week I'm talking to Alan from One Flight Down. What's going
Hey,
on,
everybody.
man?
Hey, Chad. Thanks for having me on. I really appreciate this.
I love your hat. It just says beer.
It's simple. It's to the point. You got to support your team. I'm Team Beer.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of which, sorry, Canada, no Stanley Cup for you this year.
No, not this year. But you know what? I couldn't bring myself to cheer for Edmonton anyway. So in my mind, I want to wait until Winnipeg can bring the Stanley Cup to Canada.
Actually, that's a good. That reminds me. I just got to bring up this. So you're in Winnipeg, Manitoba,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And
Heart of the continent.
I wanted to show the folks at home where that is. Where is it? Winnipeg. Here we go. Okay.
Yeah, that's us.
I thought you were a little closer to the border.
We're about an hour drive from the border.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know, this part of Minnesota cracks me up. Did you know this? This is one part right here. It's Minnesota, but like to get there, you have to like go through Canada.
Yeah.
They're completely surrounded on all sides, either by water or by Canada.
And there are a lot of spots in Ontario where it's easier and faster for me to drive through the U.S. rather than across Ontario.
Yeah, that's like
if
you're in Detroit. If you're in Detroit and you want to go to Buffalo, you would just cut through. This is Ontario, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
And it's funny. Drew from Beer for Breakfast, he lives over here somewhere, Brantford.
Brantford, yeah.
That's funny. Yeah,
around where he is. Yeah.
There's a town called Simcoe. I don't know if the hop is named after
that. I didn't realize that. That's funny.
Yeah. Yeah, I like Google Earth. Did you see like crazy stuff on here?
Oh yeah.
So where's the hockey arena?
It's like a 10-minute walk from my place. So you see the Winnipeg Art Gallery there. It's pretty close to that.
Oh, okay. Do you know the population of the city?
We're about 800,000.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is this an oil town? Or
no, that'd be out in Alberta.
Okay.
Yeah, they've got all the oil money. Yeah.
Yeah, didn't there used to be a Winnipeg Jets, and then didn't they move to Atlanta? Is that it?
No, the Winnipeg Jets, the original Winnipeg Jets, left Winnipeg in 1996 and went to Phoenix. They became the Phoenix Coyotes.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, and then in 2011, there was actually a negotiation to try and bring the Coyotes back here, but that fell through. And then the Jets organization ended up buying the Atlanta Thrashers.
Okay.
So former Atlanta teams have gone on to be the Calgary Flames and Winnipeg Jets. So what I always tell people, there's a lot of people who would really like to see the Quebec City get a hockey team again. And I said, well, the only way that happens is you give Atlanta a team, and that team will fail, and then we'll eventually move up. It's the only way Canada gets teams.
I know, it's funny because Atlanta is like a pretty big sports town. Like, although they're more like American football, like the Falcons are usually a pretty good team. Although they have a few years ago, they had the record for like the biggest choke in Super Bowl history. They were up 28-3 over Tom Brady, and then somehow wound up losing that game.
Yeah. And in terms of hockey, there's talk that they might get a team again. So I don't know, but.
Yeah, they just built a arena for them. Every time I open Instagram, I see like this, like it's like an ad for something. It says Atlanta builds arena ready for a new hockey team. I'm like, like, shouldn't you have the hockey team first?
Or I think, although we kind of, we built an arena here a few years before we got a team back. The big issue was our losing the old team in '96 was that our arena was so out of date. And so the True North organization built an arena downtown. It played minor hockey for a while, and eventually brought the NHL back. So,
this is hilarious. Hang on, let me bring this back up. So I never noticed this before. There's a town called Ass in Nabia.
Assiniboia. Yeah.
I don't know. It has the word ass in it. That's hilarious. It's funny. Canada is like I'm from upstate New York. I don't know if you knew that or not.
Oh no, I didn't.
All right, so I'm from right here, Schenectady.
Oh, okay.
Right
like the movie.
Yeah, this is Schenectady. This is Albany, the capital of New York.
Okay. Yeah.
This is all the Adirondack Mountains. Like whenever I tell people I'm from New York, I always have to say upstate New York, because when people hear New York, they think New York City.
Yeah, you just assume New York City. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, no, it's there's really New York should be two separate states, because actually New York was called New Amsterdam, because like all of upstate New York was founded by the Dutch. And actually, if you zoom in here, a lot of the towns and stuff, you'll see Dutch names, like anything that has the word kill in it. See, like fish kill. Kill. Yeah. Kill is the Dutch word for river.
Okay.
Yeah. So you'll see kill around a lot. And a lot of British names.
Place to be.
Yeah. Cornwall on Hudson.
Okay.
Yeah, and like Albany was called Beverwyck, and then when it was under Dutch, and then the British came in and took it over and changed it to Albany. Okay. So yeah, New York should really be split into two states. Like upstate New York should be called New Amsterdam, and then New York City and Long Island should be called New York.
Yeah. Yeah, I've never been to upstate New York. I've been to Vermont. I was in Vermont last year. So we were close. When actually one of my friends I met there was, I think, living in Albany at the time. So
what part of Vermont?
We went to Stowe, where the Alchemist is, and Burlington. So they're like the two towns are about an hour apart. It was just a weekend to hit breweries, and
I know. I swear, yeah. Being from upstate New York, I had so many friends that would just go to Vermont on the weekends just to do like this pub crawl, Yeah. Because like that's where Hill Farmstead is, like right up there on the Canadian border. Yeah, and the Alchemist and Lawson's Finest Liquids is that, like, it's just it's funny. Vermont is a very small state. Like there isn't a whole lot to do there other than drink.
Yeah, and people there were so excited to meet us. Like they just, I don't know. I don't think there's a lot of tourism there, or maybe it's just around that time of year. We were there in October, but they were just thrilled to have people there. It's beautiful.
Leaf peeping season is.
Yeah. And yeah, Burlington was great. And in Stowe we went to the Alchemist and the Von Trapp brewery.
Oh yeah, we
get the one that we never made it to because we just spent so much time at the Alchemist that we just ran out of time.
Yeah,
but yeah, I shot a bunch of videos there, and Burlington we went to the world's tallest filing cabinet, just outside the Burlington Beer Company.
Did you fly or drive?
So I flew into Montreal, and then a buddy of mine from Toronto took the train from Toronto, and then we rented a car and drove. Yeah, it would be a long drive just to go from Winnipeg to, that'd be like 30 hours or something.
Oh yeah, I know. It's like if it's not my own country, I have like no sense of like scale or distance. I think that's how most people are.
Yeah.
By the way, I just wanted to show the folks at home your channel. So it's called One Flight Down. What you started this only like 2 or 3 years ago?
2021, January 2021 was my first video. And I just remember that because I shot my first video on New Year's Eve and then like uploaded it later that month. Oh, I don't hear you, Chad. I think your mic's off. I think you muted yourself.
How about now?
There you are.
I don't know. I don't know if it's StreamYard or this mic, but it will just randomly mute for no reason.
Oh, weird. Okay.
So, anyway, so I sorted all your videos by oldest to newest. So is this where you still live? Because like that's where you got the name One Flight Down. You like a basement bar or?
Yeah. So last year I moved. Last year we sold the house and I moved into a condo, and so I'm not in a basement anymore. So I'm not actually One Flight Down, but I'm not changing the name because I got t-shirts. and lots of other branding. And it's just such a great name, and I love the logo and everything. So I'm just like, I'll keep it anyway as a tribute to the original space.
Yeah, and it's kind of related, Winnipeg Jets flight,
Yeah.
So by flight, it's funny, like there's a few different definitions for a flight, because like by flight, like in beer terms, it's usually like where you have like samplers, like 4 or 5 little shot glasses of beer, and like it's called a flight.
Yeah. And I think that was my original intention. I was going to do flights in the basement, but it's kind of hard to. I'm not going to crack open 4 beers just to sit by myself and sample them. Like that seems like a real waste of money.
Yeah.
So I'll do it occasionally, like if I'm doing something special,
or
if I have a guest on or something, we might do a flight. But usually if I go out, if I'm doing an on-location video in a brewery, if they serve flights, that's what I do. I always do a flight.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Just because like it's the best way to sample the menu. It's like I'm not gonna risk $6 or whatever on a full pint, and then like it ends up sucking. Usually a lot of bars are like you like a little NyQuil taster.
Yeah.
By the way, so I finished my wheat beer. I'm on to a non-alc Runner's High Raspberry, which I think is one of the better non-alcs that you can get. And if the viewers at home, if you missed it, Al and I just reviewed erdinger weissbier, so I'll put a link to that. And no spoilers.
I'm just finishing mine off, and I'm gonna top up my glass with one from a brewery that's right around the corner from where I live. It's called Little Brown Jug, and the beer is a margarita goza.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm gonna down this and top my glass up with that.
Are you a big fan of sours?
I'm coming around on them. I didn't like them at first. And I think like a real traditional sour, like I'm not a big fan of, but some of the really fruited ones that really aren't that sour. And like I really like a goza. Like I like that salty finish to it. I think sours, they have their place, and I think it's mostly, I would say, as a summertime thirst quenching kind of a beer.
I know. Can you get to Distill where you are? They're out of Illinois.
No, I've had a couple of their beers. Like, so the closest U.S. city for me would be Grand Forks, North Dakota. That'd be like a 2.5 hour drive. So usually once or twice a year I'm down there, and I've definitely had Distill when I'm down there before.
Yeah, this one is they call it a Berliner style beer with Malbec, grape, and blackberry.
Oh wow! Okay.
So I think this might be a smoothie sour. I don't know. Have you seen those? Like they're like these new sours. It's like thick, like orange juice concentrate, but like melted, like that thick.
Yeah, you can only have so much of those, right? And that's where I always think flights are great too. So you can try stuff like that, but you're not committing to 20 ounces of this really thick, heavy fruited drink. Like I don't want that much of that. I like to try it. I was in Portland last year. Last year, a year before, I went to Portland with a friend of mine, and it was all like they had so many of these like fruited beers in a lot of places, and they were great, but like you can't drink those all day. Like you just want like a right.
You'd be surprised. Like I follow like so many beer people on Instagram, and like there's this girl. Actually, she's been on the show. She goes by Craft Beer Girl Stephanie.
Okay.
And there's this brewery in Orlando called Tactical Brewing, and it's like half of all they make is all just like fruity kettle sours, and it's like they all have like when you see like a picture of the flight of the taster flight, it looks like Gatorade because it's like bright blue, pink, like glowing neon yellow. It's all just these kettle sours, and it kind of begs the question of like,
oh, we'll listen to your voice again, Chad. Your mic again. There we are.
Yeah,
it cut out right as you said. It begs the question, and then there was no question.
I know. I think if I breathe too hard on this mic, the cord gets disconnected or something. It's funny. I've had this mic since I don't know, like 2015, I think 2016, something like that. It's really good. It still works.
How long have you been doing your videos? You've been a long time.
Since 2008.
Wow.
Yeah, so we're coming up on 20. Well, we still have 3 years ago, but
have you taken breaks in there, or have you kind of been going?
Yeah, you know what's funny is there's other channels that didn't start until like way after I did, and they're up to like 3,000-4,000 episodes. I'm only on. I just passed 1,800 the other day.
Okay.
Because I did take like a year off for a while there, or for a while I was only posting like once or twice a week. Yeah. And yeah, some people have posted every goddamn day for like 10 years, so that's why they're up to like 3,600 episodes. I think Matt at Massive Beer Reviews, I think he's like 4,800 or something.
Oh, wow.
I don't know if you watch him. I subscribe to like,
no, I have to check him out.
Yeah, and it's funny because like a lot of beer tubers are obsessed with numbers, and they put like what episode number it is in the title, which I used to do.
Yeah.
But I was just like, what is the point of this? Nobody really needs to know what episode it is. They just care about the like which beer is the subject of the
yeah, I used to put them in my titles. I still put them in the description because if I want to have an idea of when I recorded something, I kind of look at that. But yeah.
Yeah, so this is Massive Beers. The one his last episode was 4,658.
Wow.
I know, and he didn't start until like let me see, I think 2011 or 2015. Let me see. Let me mute this. 2014. So I mean, he's basically posted a beer review a day for the last 11 years. Yeah. So that would account for getting close to 5,000 episodes.
Yeah.
So what was the inspiration to start your YouTube channel? BeerTube, as we call it.
I would say probably pandemic boredom would be one thing, but I remember the moment because I had a friend who was trying to get me to. She thought I should do a podcast, and that seemed more work to me than like I kind of thought a YouTube video thing would be better. And my first thought, like I got for Christmas 2020, I got this Irish whiskey I had never seen before. And I was looking it up and I came across YouTube videos, people reviewing the Irish whiskey. And I thought, I wonder if I could do whiskey reviews. But it's like I like whiskey. But I like to talk about beer more than I do whiskey.
Yeah.
And I thought, maybe I could do this with beer. And yeah, I just started poking around to see if anyone else was doing it. Of course, I found a few guys doing it, and okay, good enough. And then I started recording them. And yeah, I started off doing like maybe one every 2 weeks, and then now I'm doing probably like 3 or 4 a week. Usually 3. I think that's once in a while I'll do 4, but I think that's about the most. Like I know you had Drew from Beer for Breakfast, Facts or Snacks on recently. He does like multiple videos a day. That guy, he's like, I know. I can't keep up with him.
He doesn't. It cracks me up. He doesn't even own a computer. He just shoots everything on his phone.
Yeah. Well, he actually visited me here a while back.
I saw that.
But 2-3 months ago, and yeah, he showed me how he does his videos, and it's just like, yeah, he doesn't really necessarily edit them. He just kind of like stop and start again, and then like that's the edit, is he just puts the two together. So it's this one right here. That's right. Yeah. That's the one where we walked to this brewery, actually, right around the corner from my place.
That's a great thumbnail, by the way.
Yeah, that was a fun one to find in there. And I had to put the Little Brown Jug logo in the middle of it to cover the face of the person who was looking at it with their eyes super wide.
It's like there's a girl that's sitting at the bar or something.
Yeah. And yeah, on that moment, her eyes are just super big, and I'll just cover her up with the logo. That's
you're my third Canadian guest on this show, because like 2 months ago, I had the Halifax Foodies. They're not on YouTube; they're only on Instagram. And they do beer reviews and stuff on Instagram. Yeah. They're more like foodie people. Yeah. And then then I had Drew on a few weeks ago, and then now so
you're gonna work your way west.
I know. I guess, is there any Canadian beer tubers out in like Vancouver?
I don't know any in Vancouver. I know there's a guy out in, I think it's Regina, Saskatchewan. He's albino.
Oh, albino rhino.
Albino rhino, yeah. He's in. I'm pretty sure he's in Regina, Saskatchewan. There's someone out in Calgary that I started following recently, but it's so recent I can't think of his name off the top of my head. But I should look him up and I'll let you know, because it'd be fun if you could work your way west. Why not?
I know, it's funny. Albino rhino, he's been around for a long time too.
Yeah.
And I just had, I don't know if you saw, I actually reviewed a beer called Albino Rhino.
Okay.
I ordered it on Tavour, like this app that I use to get all my,
okay.
I'm kind of taking a break from Tavour because it's just like, it's really expensive. I need to like get down to like a little bit more economical, like getting beers at the supermarket instead of online. You know?
I'm starting to feel it now too. Like we don't have as many delivery options here, but a lot of our breweries will deliver direct to the home.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. So I try to support them, but there's a couple of them that will throw on a delivery charge, and I'm like, I could just walk to the store and pick this up.
Oh yeah, let me show you. Let's see. Yeah, so albino rhino. It's a. They called it a white stout. It's like an amber ale with like coffee and spices in it.
Okay. That name makes sense then. Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny, if you go on Untappd and do a search for albino rhino, like it turns out there's a lot of beers with that name.
I believe it, because actually there was a restaurant chain up here that used their house beer was called the Albino Rhino.
Yeah, it's funny. Coppertail Brewing, they're in Tampa. They're not too far from me.
Okay. Oh, there's a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot.
Yeah, Earl's Restaurant. That's the one I know.
When you see just the mug here, it's usually like somebody's homebrew.
Yeah. Well, yeah. In that case, Earl's Restaurant, it's their house beer, which is probably actually Moosehead or something.
Oh, this one's hilarious. Albino Rhino Gyno. Punk Ass Beer Co.
Punk Ass Beer Company. That's a great name.
Yeah, it says homebrew. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know why they let people put their homebrews on there. Yeah, it's like, what's the point? Like, if you're the only one who can get it, or like you and your close friends,
Yeah. Well, I know. I don't know if you follow Shane's Craft Beer Review out of Ontario, but he has his home is listed as a location. Like he can check into his home. Like, I'm drinking in the Boozy Beaver pub.
I used to have that too. Yeah, my friend added it on Foursquare. Does anybody use Foursquare anymore?
I don't think so.
Man, that is like that weird void between. I don't know how long you've been on the internet, because like I got on in like '95 with AOL dial-up.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I didn't get on till a bit later. I used to so in my 20s, I was trying to make it as an actor, and I had a job as a home care guy. So I had nothing in my life was computer based. And then when I was in my mid 30s, I decided to go back to school and get a communications degree. And when I did that, that's when I first started using computers. So that would be like around 2004 was when I really started using the internet. And I still have my old Hotmail account from then. And
I know.
Yeah, social media. I got into Facebook maybe about a year into that. Instagram pretty quickly, but I never got onto Foursquare or stuff like that. I've never even used Twitter other than for work. I just Oh, you're set your mic again. There you are.
I don't know. StreamYard, must be a lot of people using it right now.
Huh.
I'm gonna have to bite the bullet and pay for the that's probably what they do to get you to pay for the full.
Oh, it might be, yeah.
Full subscription price. Yeah, what I was gonna say. Yeah, so I saw on your let me bring up your Facebook here. Improvisation Antipasta. So you do improv comedy?
Yeah, I have an improv comedy group. We've been playing together for over 20 years, 21 years.
Wow.
Yeah. So we play the Winnipeg Fringe Festival every year. We've done Edmonton Fringe. We've done, we did a couple trips down to Puerto Vallarta, Mexico, and did shows out there. But like, it's, we all have day jobs and everything. It's kind of, something we do for fun, but we do corporate gigs and stuff too. So yeah, it's a lot of fun. So yeah, the Antipasta is our show coming up. That's our show at the Winnipeg Fringe starting in about 3 weeks. So
what's the name of your actual group?
Improvision.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know if your Facebook picture kind of creeps me out because like you have like all these. Is that you? It doesn't even look like.
So that is.
Why do you
that's
have like
from an improv show?
20.
It's from an improv show, and we do like a bit where we'll play like a guessing game, and someone has to. Like I'll leave the room and they'll come up with a crime I committed and I have to come in and confess to the crime and they're dropping hints. But every time I guess wrong, they put a clothespin on my face.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds like...
We've also done it with hot sauce, but that killed my stomach. So that's it.
Did you ever see that show, Impractical Jokers?
No.
Yeah, because like they're the comedy team. They're an improv group, and like they were called the Tenderloins, and then they started this show called Impractical Jokers. I don't know, it's been on for like 15 years or something.
Okay.
It's on True TV. Here, let me show you. Maybe if you see it, you'll recognize it.
See, yeah, they look familiar.
Yeah, there used to be 4 guys. Joe left like 5 years ago, and now it's just the 3 of them.
Okay. Yeah, they look familiar. I think I've seen just clips of their stuff on YouTube or something.
Oh yeah, you can buy whole seasons on Amazon, which it's funny going back to when COVID started. Like I had like so much free time, I started just buying every season on Amazon.
Yeah.
I would say like some of it's not to be like cliche, but like the earlier stuff was better,
Okay.
But yeah, it's like so it's like there's 4 guys, and it's like. It's kind of like a hidden camera show, but also improv comedy. And it's kind of like, it's not so much that they're playing pranks on strangers. It's that they're, trying to one up each other. Cause like they interact with strangers and they tell them to say or do something. And if they don't do it, then they lose. And whoever's like the biggest loser at the end of the show, like they get punished or they have to do something crazy, It's,
nice.
Yeah, it's really funny, or at least it used to be until Joe left. It's not quite the same with only 3 guys. It works better with 4 guys, I think.
Okay.
How many guys are in your trip?
Yeah. So the other day we were practicing some stuff at my friend's place, and they live like we all live kind of downtown Winnipeg in these condos, and they've got this beautiful rooftop patio. And we wanted to practice up there because we wanted to do something with the super soaker. Or like one guy's being punished with the super soaker. And their neighbors are sitting up there just trying to like have a nice glass of wine and relax. And we're just shooting each other with water and being loud and obnoxious.
Yeah.
But in my mind, they got a free show, So.
What is your day job, if you don't mind me asking?
I work in communications for a university.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's like it's a pretty decent job. That's not the same thing every day. So
yeah, I just wanted to bring up like one of your most recent videos.
Sure.
So I wanted to show people this like library kind of room.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, so yeah, you have like this intro here, which I thought was pretty cool. So this is like your actual house. Oh, cool. I never knew you had comics there.
Yeah,
wow, that's like this room is awesome. This looks like a bar or a restaurant or this used to be like.
I bought this condo last summer. The basic story was I was sharing a house with a girlfriend. We broke up. Neither of us wanted to hang on to the house. So we sold the house and I got this condo. And that bookshelf was the selling point for me to buy this place. Like, because I was thinking, oh man, where am I going to do my show? How am I going to be able to do beer review? It's not going to be interesting. And then I looked at that, like, that'll be a great backdrop.
Yeah, and it's great lighting too, because you have this all the natural light here from the window.
Yeah. Well, and it's got the ladder, so I can still kind of be one flight down.
I know. You could like put like a sign up that says like, you know, Alan's bookstore or something. It's like,
yeah.
You're like a bookstore or a library, and they actually have those ladders to like get to the top shelf there.
Yeah. Well, and I was at a bar, and I mean, there's a few bars like this in the world, but when I was in Portland a couple of years ago with a friend of mine, there was a whiskey bar we went to that, yeah, they would just like, they would have to climb up this ladder to get your whiskey for you. So I kind of did that here. I put like my more top shelf stuff up higher, and
yeah, that's where the phrase top shelf comes from. It's like usually the cheap stuff on the bottom and the expensive stuff.
And I have a rule: if I'm 2 drinks in, I don't get anything off the top shelf.
Yeah. Can you give us a little tour? Like what's on?
All right. So what do I got there? So where you looking there, that's like, those are my movies. Those are like DVDs. I've never gotten rid of my DVDs because I find like a lot of stuff you can't find on streaming services. So
yeah, I know. I kind of wish I had kept mine.
Yeah, like I got rid of my music, like my CDs, but I've got them all on files on my computer. So even if I can't find it on streaming, I can still play it, right? Yeah, and then I got a number of books in there, and I've tried to, I've categorized things and tried to keep the middle sort of my bar area.
Yeah, I saw you had some comics on the bottom shelf there. Yeah, right here.
Yeah.
You have all the Walking Deads, Watchmen,
series.
Why the Last Man. Yeah, it's funny. I have all those on. I used to have all those physical books, and I kind of miss having physical comics. Yeah. But I have them all on my tablet now, and I used to be hooked. I was like an addict to like comiXology.com.
Yeah.
I don't know which got bought out by Amazon, and like now they just rolled it into Kindle. So it's like you have to open the Kindle app to read the comics, and like it like I felt like the app was like a downgrade. Like the actual comiXology app was like so much better.
Yeah, when I first got an iPad for the first time, that was all I did. Comics. I was just so excited to be able to read comics. And yeah, that's what I used, this comiXology. It was great. And yeah,
like the only place we could get them.
Yeah,
I know they would have like sales all the time. I had to like unsubscribe from because like they have like a sale like every week, and I would just go on there and like spending tons and tons of money, and like hardly ever reading them. I'm like, I'm spending all this money buying all these digital comics, and like I'm not reading them. You know, you know, it's funny because like I'll try to like dedicate like an hour a day to just like read something. Like last night I was reading some old Batman versus Ra's al Ghul.
Okay.
Probably from the 80s. And whenever I read like, you know, basically anything from any superhero stuff from like the 20th century, I'm just like, oh, this stuff is for kids, you know, or like they think it's for adults, but like it comes across as kind of corny, but you know, it's kind of like, and because they all have to be, you know, PG. Like they don't use like swear words or nudity or like gore unless it's like, you know, like, well, in Walking Dead and stuff like that they do. But and it's funny. Speaking of which, I always liked the Walking Dead comics better than the show.
Yeah, the show started off pretty good. It had its moments, but it just meandered for so long. Like,
oh yeah.
And like doing like the single episode following one character when you've got like all these other storylines you're trying to remember. It got really frustrating.
Well, you know, they have to, they're contracted to make like so many episodes per season. Yeah. And like it's funny, just reading like one of those graphic novels or trades or whatever you want to call them. Yeah. Like you can read the whole thing in like 30 minutes, maybe an hour. Yeah. And like that's like an entire season of the show. And so they have to like space it out. You know, they have to like, you know, they added like, you know, all these like Daryl wasn't in the comics.
Right.
Carol was, but she's like a completely different character on the show, and she died early in the comics. And I was
all kind, like so many characters went on different paths on the show. And I thought the comics ended really beautifully. Like, they tied up the central characters really well, and then like the series, it just kind of like we're done, but we're gonna do some other series with different.
I know the TV show. I never even finished it. I got to like the part where they beat the what's his name, Negan.
Yep.
And then I forget what happened. I just like stopped watching it, and I tried to pick it up again a few years ago on Netflix. Started watching when I first met Christina. She had never seen it, so we started watching it from episode 1. And same thing happened again. Like when we got to around that season, we were both kind of like sick of it, you know?
Yeah.
And I stopped. It's like I think she finished it, and I've never finished the TV show.
Okay, I recently finished it. Like I stuck it out for a while, and I just never got around to watching that final season. And then recently, I was just looking for something to watch. You know what? I've heard pretty good things about some of the spin-off shows they did, and I thought, well, if I'm going to watch those, I should finish off the last season. And the last season was probably one of the better ones in a while. So you gotta, it's a tough slog to get there. But I thought the last season, like there were less of those one-off episodes that get you away from the main story, and it had like it was a lot more action driven than it was for a while.
Yeah. And so I canceled my Netflix subscription. So I can't, unless they move it to Hulu or Amazon or something, I'm not going to be able to.
Yeah. How many streaming services can you have, right?
My mic cut out again. Is that like a wooden Thor's hammer there?
Yeah. I actually have a friend named Thor that I've been meaning to give that to for like a while, but I just never see the guy. So
yeah. You know, it's funny. Like I always get off topic when I do these shows, but it's like, you know, it's supposed to be a beer podcast,
right?
So
beer. Yeah.
Yeah. So how did you get into beer? Like, I don't know. I feel like every American that I've met has like kind of the same story. Like, I drank Bud Miller Coors in high school or college, and then someday somebody just handed me like a Sam Adams or something like that. And then, but yeah, I always find like with non-Americans, it's like they were like already like into wine or whiskey or something. And it's like, they just like went straight into imperial stouts or IPAs or something like that. So,
I mean, when I was younger, it took me, I didn't really like beer until so our drinking age here is 18. So I probably started drinking like just before I turned 18. And, I didn't get into beer till I was like around 21, because I don't know, I would drink like you know, mixed drinks like bourbon and rye and stuff like that, rum, you know, those kinds of drinks. And then I only started drinking beer because that's what you could buy at the end of the night when the bar closed. You could still buy beer at 2 a.m. and we were heading off to a party. So that's what got me drinking, and it was terrible beer, right? It was
Molson Ice.
yeah. No, well, I mean, the big brands here in those days were like Molson Canadian, which is okay, but like Labatt Blue, stuff like that. And then they would, around that time period, they were bringing like Molson Dry and Molson Ice and all these kinds of things. And it wasn't until I found there was a neighborhood I lived in when I was in like my early mid-20s. They had a British style pub, and I would go there and I would have like Guinness and Smithwick's and Harp and stuff like that on tap. And I started to appreciate beer a little more, drinking those sort of British styles. They tasted a little better. And then, and then I just kind of, we didn't really have like a craft beer scene here where I lived for very long. But anytime I travel somewhere, first thing I want to do is try local beer. And that's,
me too.
I've always done that. And like I remember I started traveling a lot more around like 2011 or so. And we still didn't have a craft beer scene in Winnipeg because our liquor laws were so outdated. They wouldn't allow tap rooms. So as soon as they allowed tap rooms, which was 2016, within a year we had 20 breweries.
Wow.
So like I went from like not having local beer and I have to travel to get them to suddenly having all this, you know, good local stuff.
Did Canada never had prohibition the way we did?
No, but like every province has its own liquor laws. So it's different everywhere you go. Like in Manitoba, you still can't buy beer in like a grocery store or a convenience store, but in Ontario and Quebec and I think Alberta, you can. So
it's funny.
Varies province by province. But like out west, like in BC, I remember going to a concert there a few years ago, and they don't let you in large venues take beer into your seat. Like if you're going to watch live music, like you've got to like drink your beer in the lobby and then come in. And it was every venue there. And it's like, what is this? So it's different every province here.
What about at hockey games?
In Vancouver, you can't bring your beer in to watch the hockey game.
So
but
you have to.
But here you can. Winnipeg, you can.
It's like you might as well just not even sell it at all. You know, I bet a lot of people.
What do you got? How are you going to power back a beer in like a 15-minute intermission and get back to your seat?
I know that makes no sense.
No,
I didn't. Yeah, it's funny. Like a lot in America, a lot of those laws are like holdovers from Prohibition, and
right.
Like when some states, like you still like liquor stores can't even be open on Sunday. Like, because I grew up in upstate New York, and they had, I don't know if it's still the law there, because like the first job I ever had was a cashier in a supermarket, and on Sundays you couldn't sell beer before noon. Like after noon, it was fine, but I remember like so many times where like I saw people put beer on the belt, and it's like 11:59, you know, a.m. And I'm like, all right, either we have to wait 5 minutes or you're gonna come back, because I can't ring this up until afternoon, you know.
Yeah.
And and it's like some other places have like no restrictions at all. Like it always baffled me, like I think like in Utah, like you can't sell beer more than like 4% ABV or something like that.
Wow.
And it's like, what's the point? But like you can buy whiskey, and that's 40% ABV, 80 proof. It just makes no sense at all. It's like
so you got state by state restrictions that are completely different. I did hear the thing about Utah before, which I'm very curious about. I know there are breweries there, but I guess they got to brew low ABV beers.
There's loopholes. You know what it is? Like in Pennsylvania, like I think they changed the law a few years ago, but up until I think 2012 or something, like you couldn't have a standalone beer store or liquor store. Like the liquor store had to be literally physically attached to a bar. So it's like it would be a bar on one side, and you would just like go through a door, and then it would be a store on the other side. So if you wanted to buy bottles and cans to take home, that's how they got away with it. The only thing, Florida's really good about, relaxed beer laws. The only crazy thing that they still have is there's some bars that like they have bottles and cans, and they have like big refrigerators, just like you would see like in a convenience store or supermarket. And like it'll have two separate prices. It'll be like to go price and drink it here price. Okay. And the drink it here price is like, I don't know, $3 or $4 higher, because they call it an uncorking fee.
Yeah.
I think it's just, maybe it's like their way of like, because like they also have beers on tap, which is, well, you can't get beer on tap to go. I don't think so. I've never. It's funny because I remember when I first started doing this show in 2008. That was right around the time that growlers started becoming popular.
Yeah.
It's like you get like this big, huge glass jug, and like you go to a beer store and they would just pour it straight off the tap line, and it was to take home.
Yeah.
And I never understood the point of it. I was like, if I want beer to go home, I'll just get a bottle or can. And it's like, to me, the growlers were only good if you were going to like a party, because like as soon as you open it, it's like you have a really short window before it goes flat.
Yeah, you kind of have to drink it that night or within a day or two to.
Yeah. And
I still if you don't crack it open, it's still not gonna be good for very long. Like.
Yeah. And I still don't get the fascination with growlers. I never did. Although they do have crowlers now. Yeah. You get like, it's kind of like a can, but it's like 30 ounces or something.
Yeah. We've got a brewery near me that does crowlers. The big can. Those are like, that's basically your sharing that with someone, you're each getting a full pint, basically, is what's coming out of that. But
yes,
brewery that's like right around the corner from me, they're called Little Brown Jug. And the name came from when they opened, they served, everything was in crowlers, basically. That was how they sold everything. And that was the name. And now they've moved to cans because it's just, nobody wants to cart these heavy glass bottles of beer around. Like,
I know.
Especially like me. Like I walk most places. So I'm going to pop into a brewery. I want cans and throw a few in my backpack and go. I don't want to carry some big, heavy glass bottles, right?
Yeah. I will say there is something. There's definitely like a je ne sais quoi factor to glass bottles, especially the big 750 caged and corked.
Yeah,
because like the bottle itself is like a work of art, and it just has like
this.
I
got one of those here actually. These kind of things.
Yeah, it has like a cachet to it.
Yeah,
you just can't get with a 500 ml can or.
That's true. Yeah.
Although I will say,
I was talking to someone at a brewery recently, not a place that does the cork and cage or anything like that, but they said actually the best way to preserve a beer is in a can, not in a special bottle, because
they don't let in any
light, right? So
and oxygen.
Yeah.
Although I will say, like, the one thing I do like about cans is the labels. A lot of the breweries go nuts with the labels, and I've been saving these for years. And I don't know why it took me so long. I got these poster boards at Walmart for, I don't know, next to nothing. And then so I have all these labels saved. And I wish I had thought to get the poster boards years ago, because like a few weeks ago, I just went through my collection and I just was using Elmer's glue, kids glue. and gluing them to the poster boards, and it didn't turn out quite as good as I was hoping for. So I might actually take this down, and I have tons of I don't know, you ever seen like the soccer scarves?
Yeah.
I have tons and tons of them from Orlando City, who's our MLS team here.
Okay.
And I might take these poster boards down and just put all soccer memorabilia up, and I don't know. I thought about actually they have a game tonight. I should go outside the game when it comes out and try to sell them as people are leaving. But I don't know. I'd be worried like the police would be like, you need like a permit or something, and
probably
even if they don't, it depends on the cop, because I'd be like, all right, fine, I'll leave, and then but it's like if the cop's like really a jerk, they'd be like, they might hand me a ticket, I'd be like, come on, man, I'm just trying to sell these scarves, like
how did the MLS team do out there? Like, get good attendance out there?
Yeah, Orlando has one of the biggest stadiums in MLS, because like they have their own stadium just for the soccer team. Like a lot of the other teams, they play like in baseball stadiums or American football stadiums, so it's not a stadium that was built for them. And like there's like a lot of like just tons and tons of empty seats, But like with Orlando City, even on it's 20,000 seat capacity. Even if it doesn't sell out, it still looks like there's a lot of people there,
Yeah.
And but like the teams that play in like NFL stadiums, like they always look kind of sad on TV because like there's so many empty seats,
Yeah.
And our team, they have like a supporter section where they have like a drum section where they're just playing drums the entire game.
Oh wow!
So it's like very European, but then like when we watch TV, like when they're on the road, I just watch them on TV. Like the crowd isn't really into it, Like you don't hear like the dum 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 dum.
Yeah, we have.
Are you a big soccer fan at all?
Yeah, like I don't follow it, but I do like soccer. Like I like the game. I used to play when I was a kid. I like to watch it. We've got a team here, like a minor league team called the Valor, and I think they've been around for I'm gonna say like less than 10 years. But when they first started, they were getting about 4,000 people a game, and they're getting like close to 12,000 a game now. So like clearly people are getting into it. So yeah, I would love to see us like eventually get like a a professional team.
Yeah.
That'd be amazing. But yeah, absolutely love the game. Like that was the sport I played as a kid. I don't. Not that my family was poor, but we couldn't quite afford hockey equipment. That was the.
I know hockey's like the most expensive sport. That's why, like, I think it's like it's the least popular because it's just so hard to. It's funny. I don't know if you know this or not. Like my day job, I'm an Uber driver among many jobs that I do, and I was giving a guy a ride, and he was in from out of town, and I forget how we just started talking about hockey, but he was saying like, like when they're kids. Usually like the schools pay for all the equipment and all that stuff, but like once you turn like a teenager, you're in high school, then you have to like start buying like your own equipment, and that's when it gets like super expensive. And also like they're growing, so it's like every year they have to buy new equipment because like it doesn't fit them anymore. That's why like hockey is like a very affluent sport, people who can really afford it,
Yeah, absolutely.
Is that how it is up there?
Oh yeah, like I mean the equipment is like every year you're having to replace it, and it's super expensive for families, and like you don't see a lot of like underprivileged kids playing hockey. Like there's there are like some groups that will fundraise to make that happen. Like in some of like our rural remote communities, there'll be like fundraising to help make that happen. But for the most part, you kind of have to have money to play hockey.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of like that here. Also with football, because like football, you need a lot of pads for that. Although, I think whatever school you go to will provide that for you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure what you have to buy yourself, but like the high school I went to, we didn't even have our own hockey team. It was a team that was split with like 3 different schools because there was so little interest in it.
Okay,
so it was like the Schenectady, Albany, Colony, whatever. Like I think my school had like 2 kids on the team, and the other schools had 15 players each or something like that.
Yeah. My school was not a very sports minded school. Like we didn't have a football team, we didn't have a hockey team. We had like basketball and volleyball, like stuff you could play on a court that didn't require a lot of equipment. That was sort of what we had.
Yeah, wasn't it invented by Canadian?
It was, yeah.
But you think of it as an American
exactly,
sport.
but yeah. We only have one professional NBA team in the whole country.
Yeah, Toronto.
Yeah.
Are they? Actually, they used to be pretty good a few years ago.
Yeah, I don't think they did so great this last year, but I think it was 2-3 years ago they did really well. So.
I kind of want to go back to what we were saying before. It was like we were talking about comics and stuff, and like I was saying, like the collector's mentality. I find that the same collector's mentality I had with comics, I started applying with beer. Is especially back in like between like 2009 and actually when I lived up in Albany. Actually, when I moved down to Florida, my perspective totally changed. But do you ever find that kind of collector's mentality of like I got like something that's like super rare? It's like you got to get it, like something from Belgium that.
Yeah, and like especially like with our local scene. So, like at one point, I was trying to get everything every brewery was putting out, and I had like a closet full of like 300 beers. Like I'm not drinking these. So I kind of stopped when that was happening. But yeah, like there's certain. I don't do so much collecting, but I like to make sure I can get to try certain things. Like I don't need to like hang on to the bottle or anything, but. There's the whole bucket list mentality. Like I had to go to the Alchemist at some point, right? That felt like a pilgrimage, So and like I'm going to Scotland and Ireland later this year, and I've got breweries that I want to hit. Like that's, I'm not. Yeah, like I've got to do that. So, but I don't try not to like need as much memorabilia as I used to. That's I've got like tons of coasters and stickers I want to do things with. Like,
oh yeah,
if you see in that clip in my bar fridge, like that thing at that point didn't have that many. Right now, it's just like covered in stickers. And
I know, like this fridge right here is a good example of that. It's like I got this just to have this on camera, Although, no, actually, it is a functional purpose too, because my regular food fridge, you know, is full, and like I was like, I started like having like no room in there, and I thought like I wanted something that I could show on camera, and actually I might have to. I want to change my setup because like you can only see like 2 of the shelves on here.
Yeah, no, that looks great though.
This has a you can't see it on camera, but like it has this metal stand. It's like a hot water heater stand.
Oh wow,
It's meant to hold like 5. Like you could put like a washing machine or a hot water heater on it.
Yeah.
So I should have got one that's like twice as tall, so it'd be like, or I'm gonna have to push the desk another few feet away from the wall, or I don't know. I need to. I've been in this apartment for I just passed 7 years, and I feel like I need like I still can't afford a house. Like these real estate prices are just absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
So like I keep rooting for like a real estate collapse. You know, I'm sorry for everybody that like owns real estate. It's like, sorry, I just need the market to collapse like it did in 2008 or 2012 or whatever year that was. So you know, I can actually afford a house. There's no reason a house should cost as much as they do now. Like these people, these rundown houses, they want like $500,000 for them. I'm like,
that's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, I don't have a $500,000, you know?
Yeah, I know. It's so expensive. Like that's why when I moved out of the last place, I can't get another house. Like I keep it and everything. So yeah. But like I've got like my little beer fridge next to like where I do most of my videos. And then I've got like my regular, you know, kitchen fridge. And like when people come over, I'm like, oh yeah, you can have, grab a beer from the fridge, and they'll go to my little beer fridge. Oh no, not that one. That's my review beers.
Yeah. That's what I used to do
in my head.
That was kind of like the point of this fridge. Is like these are the beers for YouTube, and everything that's in the actual food fridge. Have at it, you know.
Yeah, that seems right. We get it.
You're like, what's like a beer? It's funny, we were saying off camera. I'll just repeat it. It's like I keep these non-alcs in the fridge because I'm actually trying to cut down on drinking. Like I'm trying. I don't always succeed, but I try to only have like one alcoholic beverage a day. And because I usually shoot them around like 9 or 10 p.m. And usually that's enough. But like we're shooting this on a Saturday afternoon, so I still have the whole rest of the day ahead of me.
Yeah.
So
yeah, good luck with that.
I get these non-alcs. I really like this Runner's High brand. And like they're similar. I mean, it's a different taste. It's funny, it's like these non-alcs are in this weird void where they're similar to beer, but they're not the same. And they're definitely much different than like soda or juice or something sugary like that. And actually non-alcs are like, this is only 70 calories.
Okay.
It doesn't say the sugar on it. I can't imagine it's too high, but it's like these are I would say non-alcs are a good alternative to soda. Yeah. It's like, a Coke or a Pepsi, if you get the full sugar version, that's going to be like, I don't know, 200-300 calories.
Yeah.
But if you get a non-alc, you're like under 100.
It's just hard to find a good non-alcoholic beer. Like, the ones I found that I find are really expensive. Like they're as much as buying a good craft beer.
Yeah. Have you had the Guinness Zero?
Yeah, actually, I really do like the Guinness Zero.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, I've had that one a few times. I'm sometime soon. I think my like 500th episode is coming up, and I think what I want to do for that is like compare the original Guinness with the non-alcoholic.
The Zero,
see how it goes. Because I think the Zero is pretty close. Like in terms of like an actual beer brand that the taste of, that one I think is the closest to replicating that taste. But yeah, like I've tried a few others, but I find that for you know what it is? It's if I'm only having non-alcoholic beer, they'll work. They're serviceable. Yeah. But if I'm having a real beer and then switch to non-alcoholic beer, it's like something's not here. Something's missing. Not right. Yeah.
Have you had I don't know if they sell them up there. Do you get the Sierra Nevada non-alcs?
No.
Those are I would say those are the best because they taste about 90% the same as the real thing, especially like their IPAs. It's very, very similar. I noticed like a lot, like if you get like a non-alc lager, they have like I found this because I do this series every once in a while called Teetotaler Thursday.
Okay.
And I noticed like they have like this what I call the Arnold Palmer flavor. It has like this almost like lemonade and like a black tea. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Okay. Yeah,
like Corona Zero. I've any just generic pale lager that's a non-alc version. To me, they have like this. I don't know. I just call them like Arnold Palmers.
Yeah,
they have like this. I don't know. It just reminds me of lemonade and black tea.
Yeah, I almost find they have like a weird. The lagers I find have like a weird aftertaste to them. There's like a kind of a tinniness to them or something. Like it's it's hard. I haven't found many that I've liked. I've tried a few because I'm the same. I don't pound back as many beers as I used to. Sometimes it's kind of nice to have a decent non-alcoholic beer. One I don't mind is Kronenberg Blanc, the Kronenberg the white blue bottle Kronenberg.
Yeah.
I think that non-alcoholic version tastes pretty close to the real thing too. But
I haven't had that.
But again, if you have them, if I went from the real one and went directly to that, I think I would notice a difference.
I know somebody on Twitter said, the difference between like, full alcoholic beer and like non-alcoholic beer. It's like the difference between like hardcore porn and like a rated R movie, or like those Cinemax or like those movies that are on HBO.
It's the Red Shoe Diaries. Yeah.
It's like it's really close, but it's just not. It's missing something,
Yeah. They've got their place, but I find like if I'm driving or I have to get up for work in the morning or something like that, like that's generally when I turn to them. But like that's craft beer is like I'm quite happy to drink 4 craft beers in a day or an evening, whatever. And when years ago would have done like 6 or 8 macro beers in that same time period. Like I would rather just have something that tastes good that I can take my time with. And I find that I don't need to pound it back as much.
I forget, somebody else said this was the non-alcs are good for when you're at the bar with a friend, and if you can order something that looks like a full beer but isn't, so like your friends don't judge you. It's that's something that you learn. Well, I mean, like based on, it also depends on where you live too. Like because you're in a downtown metro area, right?
Yeah.
So like I'm sure maybe you're like within walking distance or like a reasonably priced Uber or taxi ride home.
Yeah, for me, I'm pretty well situated for that.
Yeah. But like here in Orlando, it's just like it's sprawl. It's huge.
Yeah.
And it's funny, like going back to what I said before. I do Uber as one of my jobs, and I give a lot of out of town and out of country tourist rides. And they always ask me about beer in Orlando. And I'm like, you know what? I actually don't really drink out in Orlando that much because, first of all, most of the beer that's being made here is like okay. It's all like good. It's like, but it's nothing like that you're going to jump for joy or like, I can't wait to go back there. It's like, it's all like on a scale of 1 to 10, it's like 6 out of 10 where like you're going to give it a thumbs up, but it's not like the Trappist or something, where it's like, so like I'm not going to go out of my way to get that. And again, also like because it's so far away, so you have the choice. Am I going to drive a half hour or more and then risk it driving back, or am I going to pay like an arm and a leg for an Uber ride? Like it could be like $100 round trip for an Uber, depending on how far you're going.
Yeah.
It's certainly better than getting arrested for drunk driving, but you know what? It's better is just staying here and in my own man cave and having my own. I don't really drink to get drunk.
Yeah. Like we're a smaller city, so I can get around okay here. But like Toronto is, like I've got a good friend who lives there, and like I visited him I think 3 times over the last couple of years. I'll probably go a few more times, and like we'll do brewery crawls. Like we'll do like 15 breweries in 3 days, kind of thing. And we've done that 3 times, and we've not gone to the same place twice. Like it's just there's that many there. but they're really spread out. Like Toronto's just this sprawling city that if you don't plan it out carefully, you could blow a lot of money on Uber rides out there.
Yeah,
we're funny. Always looking on the map and trying to pick things close together, and
You said you're going to to England and Scotland next year, and it's like I bet it's like a beer centric trip,
Oh yeah, well, one of the two big things on this trip. It's actually this coming August that I'm going, and so there's two things. We're in Ireland. We're going to the oldest pub in the world. And the other thing is we're meeting up with Don from Don's Beer Reviews out in Dunbar, Scotland. And so we're gonna. He's got beer set aside to do together, and we're gonna. He's booked a brewery tour for us somewhere, Belhaven, I think it was. And it's gonna be a pretty beer centric trip.
I know. I've always wanted to go to like Belgium and Germany to like And it's funny. I was actually supposed to go to my parents' house in New York last week, but they're having like this like record heat wave up there.
Okay.
And my mom was like, "You got to reschedule for September because like we weren't just gonna sit around the house all day. We were gonna go out and do stuff." But my parents, they're in their 70s. My mom's like, we just can't handle the heat,
Right.
Which is one of the reasons they won't move to Florida. I keep trying to get them to move down here.
Yeah.
But the heat doesn't bother me.
Funny because like their extreme heat is probably like just another Tuesday to you.
I know exactly. It doesn't bother me if it's 90 or like just actually this morning before we started recording, something I do almost maybe like every other day. There's a Walmart about 1.5 miles from where I live, and even if I don't need anything, I just walk over there and kind of like look around and then walk back.
Yeah.
So it's about 3 miles round trip, and it usually takes me about between like an hour, 60 to 90 minutes, depending on how much I wander around the store, or if I just go there, get one thing, come right back. And like I got a hat, I put sunblock on, I got one of those water backpacks. Doesn't bother me at all.
Yeah.
But actually, it was funny because like when I was planning this trip, a few months ago, my mom, like I told my mom like all these places I wanted to go because like you've heard of in Albany they have this new brewery there called Fiden's. Have you heard of it?
No.
They're like one of the new like cutting edge, like all the beer geeks. These are like one of the up and coming. Everybody's like, you gotta
try. I have to check this out. Okay.
Yeah, and then also, you've probably heard of Treehouse Brewing.
Treehouse, that sounds familiar. Yeah.
Yeah, like they started in Massachusetts, and they have like 2 or 3 different breweries or brew pubs, and they opened one in Saratoga, not too far from Albany.
Okay.
And like that was like one of the highlights of my trip. I was like, oh my god, because Treehouse is like the must-have brewery among like American beer nerds. Although I love how American beer nerds are like have like this like Valley Girl thing where it's like, oh, that brewery is like so last year, it's like this is the brewery, It's like
I've got a friend out in the Albany area who has sent me beers before. I might have to. I should take notes of these and
there's a couple of guys there. No Hype Beer Reviews. He was the first.
Oh yeah.
He was the first guest on this show about a year and a half ago. He's in Albany, and there's a guy called Keep It Funky and Dank Beer Reviews. He's in Albany.
I think I know him. I'll have to look him up too.
Yeah, and it's just I don't know. I had like all these beer snob friends back when I lived up there. There's the biggest newspaper in Albany is called the Times Union, and like back in the like I don't know. Early 2000s, probably up until about 2020, they had like a huge like user blog community. Yeah. And I think they would get more traffic on these blogs than the actual news. Because like people, it was all WordPress. People could comment on it. And it was like the food and drink and like also like, politics and stuff like, very controversial stuff. Yeah. And they had a beer blog on there that like one of the local professional brewers he started, and like he just didn't have time to keep it up anymore. And it's a long story on how like one of the editors, he reached out to me and he said, George can't do the blog anymore, do you want to do it? And I was like, hell yeah. And so like, and I do like I was fairly noob back then, but you know, so like all these people, like all these beer snobs would write in like on like how I suck and I don't know what I'm talking about, and like I said, like how that brewery is so last year. The brewery you got to hear of is this year, you know. And
Okay, yeah,
you know, it's just like the cliche, like absolute snobs and hipsters and all that stuff. And I don't know.
yeah.
That was like when I moved to Florida, I was actually kind of relieved to get away from that.
That was my biggest fear starting up a YouTube channel talking about beer, is that people are going to tell me I don't know what I'm talking about, level, like all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Because like on beer Facebook groups, I've seen people get just shot down for just giving their opinion on a beer, you know. And
Oh yeah.
so I was like, oh man, is this going to happen to me? So it thankfully hasn't. Like the worst I've had is somebody saying, maybe instead of another beer, maybe you should think about a treadmill. Just stupid stuff like that. And I just said, oh, thanks for thinking about my health. That's really nice of you. Oh, thanks.
I know. You know, yeah, that's what I used to do, the Facebook groups and all that stuff. And yeah, I haven't been in those in a long time, but something I would recommend. You know, it's funny, I've said this on other podcasts, so if people are, I'm sorry to sound like a broken record, but you know, well, you can't really see it, but a few years ago, I got BJCP certified, and also, I mean, like if you homebrew, you start to appreciate what goes into actually making beer and like how difficult it is, especially like really delicate styles, like even the, you know, Bud Miller core stuff like that. Like it's really difficult to get right, and especially if you're judge homebrew competitions, people trying to make that stuff 9 times out of 10 tastes like crap.
Yeah.
You start to like really appreciate like the quality control, and also like, yeah, Bud Miller and Coors, they taste like the way that they're supposed to taste. Like that's that style. And like you can make the argument that not all styles are created equal. Like, you know, I would think like an IPA is a more superior style to macro lager, you know.
But you
But
can
yeah,
probably
it's
do
like,
more with that to disguise errors. I think with a lager, there's
yeah.
only so much you can do. If you don't get it right away,
Mhm.
what are you going to do?
Yeah.
You know?
100%. Yeah. And so it's like I don't really like argue taste anymore, because I used to do that. But like if somebody wants to argue it, I will like play the game with them. Like not even if I don't really believe it, like just kind of like troll them, you know?
Yeah.
Like people will leave comments on mine like, "Oh, IPA tastes like crap," you know. This is why I only drink Heineken. And I'm like, "Wow, you must have really terrible taste," you know. So yeah, it's also, have you ever heard of the Dunning-Kruger effect?
I don't think so.
All right, so it's like when you start to learn about something, it's you're like really confident even though you're fairly ignorant, and then it's like
Yeah.
it's a graph of like the more you learn, the less confident you are, and then eventually you start to build confidence back up again. So it's
Okay.
like somebody who's like an expert in a field, like they might not be like they're just, it's kind of, it's not so much confident as it is like cocky, you know. So
Yeah.
it's like when you first, that's why teenagers are cocky, is because they're just starting to learn about the world.
Right.
And they just have like a very superficial understanding of like whatever it is that they're learning about,
Yeah.
unless they're like a legit savant or genius or something like that, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, but I think it's just like it's like you can literally graph wisdom. So it's just like the more
Yeah.
wisdom you have, like you just realize like, oh, maybe it's really not that simple or whatever.
Right.
And
Yeah.
yeah, like when I watch my old videos on here, I can tell like I was going through that, and like now I'm at the other end where it's like, yeah, I don't even claim to be a beer expert, because like professional brewers who actually go to school to like, because there's actually a lot of science you need to know for you know, like chemistry and microbiology and all that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure.
And yeah,
Oh, your sound, your mic.
I just don't try to like talk out of my ass anymore. It's like if I don't know something, I like will just say I don't know. Like,
Yeah.
you know, I just started like last year. I started doing like whiskey reviews, and I don't
Yeah.
even like give them ratings because I'm not confident in myself as a whiskey judge.
Mm-hmm.
You know, be like, well, this one tastes better to me, but like I don't know anything about what goes on in what to make whiskey. Well, I mean, I sort of do. I have like don't know if you ever read this book, Tasting
Oh,
Whiskey.
I see. I haven't read it, but I've seen it. Yeah, I know the book. Yeah.
Definitely recommend this. I mean, but like with books, it's like you only remember what you read like 10 seconds after you finish reading it, you know?
Yeah.
And
they're great to go back and reference and things like that. But
yeah, I mean, the best way to learn anything is to just do it.
Yeah.
You know, that's why. Do you homebrew?
I haven't in a long time, but like back in the 90s, I used to homebrew. It was all like stuff from kids, right? It was just like I didn't like really get into it. But what I found was that I never made a good lager. I made a really nice nut brown ale that I made all the time. That was like my favorite thing I made. I made a couple stouts that were pretty good. I just found like the lagers never tasted the way that I think a lager should.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I never got into like brewing, like, you know, outside of kits and things like that. But I've got a friend who lets me try his stuff, and I've done a couple of his beers on my channel. And yeah, he'll forage for ingredients and things. And I think they're really, you know, they're not necessarily as good as what I'm buying direct from a brewery, but they're pretty good. Like they're better than anything I did, you know, back in my old apartments and stuff. So
yeah, I would recommend if you're serious about beer, like homebrew, just even if it's like extract kits or whatever, just to like, you'll learn it, and also become BJCP qualified, because like there's a few books. Let's see. Tasting Beer by Randy Mosier. Where is it? Where's How to Brew? Oh, here it is. This book, How to Brew by John Palmer. This is basically the syllabus that the BJCP goes off of for the test.
Okay.
And this has all the, you know, homebrew 101. You know, it has like that, just enough microbiology, just enough chemistry that you need to know.
Yeah.
You know, even if you don't homebrew, if you're just serious about beer and you want to know how it's made, and if you want to become a BJCP judge, this is where they get all the test questions from.
Okay.
So yeah, like you can get this used at a bookstore, get it on Amazon or whatever. But I think, you know, it's funny. I've plugged this book so many times on this show. I think John Palmer should give me a.
I think you can get a little something. You should get.
I would love to get. I would love to get him on the show. I don't even know how to get a hold of him.
Oh, that'd be amazing. Yeah.
Anyway,
I always I always tell people on my show, I'm not a beer expert. I'm just a guy who wears a hat that says beer. And like that's why I don't usually give ratings. It's I don't feel like who am I to like say this is you know, like this high in a rating. I just talk about my experience with the beer and what I think of it, and I'll compare it to other beers more than necessarily say, you know, this is an 8 out of 10 or whatever. Like when I'm on Drew's show, he always has me give a rating, and I'll come up with something like very strange and say, oh, you know, it's like a 7.8329 or something.
Yeah, and it's funny because going back to like we did this review of this Erdinger Hefeweizen, and I kind of like, when I judge it on the show, like it's just basically how much I like it. You know, so I give it spoilers. I give it a 7 out of 10. You know, it's good. It's not amazing, but if we were actually to break out the guidelines and to score it to spec, it's 10A weissbier.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, like to me, this was like an okay to good beer, but if we're actually judging it to spec, it might score, you know, fairly high.
I like the way you describe your rating though, because it's like a 7. It's a very good beer. I'm not going to rush out and get it again, but it's still like there's absolutely nothing wrong with it. That makes sense for me. That rating makes sense for that. And like I can't remember which one we were talking about earlier. It's like 6. I'll give it the thumbs up, but that's, you know.
Yeah, it's like it's fine for the time, you know. It's like, you know, I've had worse. It's like same thing like with this non-alc. It's like, you know, I like it, but I'm not going to drink 20 of these in a row. Although actually what's really good is I take the raspberry wheat and I blend it with the chocolate, and there's raspberry chocolate one. I'll split it with Christina.
Is it a thicker drink like the
Which one? This?
Like either of them. Like the chocolate, I would think would be a bit thicker.
It's about the same as the erdinger.
Okay.
You know? I would probably put like medium body, but it's got a little bit of wheat in there to get fluff it up a little.
Okay.
0.5 ABV.
Yeah.
So anyway, we're going pretty long, so I guess we can wrap it up here. So
sure.
Let everybody know where they can follow you. Are you just on YouTube?
Yeah, just YouTube. I mean, I've got an Instagram, but it's just my own personal one that I'll occasionally share videos on. So yeah, my YouTube, it's at One Flight Down WPG. There were a lot of One Flight Downs, so I just thought One Flight Down Winnipeg, that's me. So
okay. All right. Well, thanks for doing the show, and I will see you on BeerTube. Sorry, I'm out of beer.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on, Chad. Appreciate it.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Bye.